Okay, I'm going to try this again. So there's a really great new video on Heisenberg discovering the noncommutative frequencies and explaining exactly how they work in his equation. So basically, he took what was Fourier analysis and turned it into an amplitude equation using the frequency and the exponential based on the observation of the photons, and the spectrum of the photon is then analyzed with this Ritz-Rydberg formula. And so when you have K in here, you find out that K is actually the equivalent of N and J. So in the first case, K is N minus J. In the second case, K is just N. So that proves that this is a non-commutative equation, because when you change the order of K, it changes the value of K. And this is the same exact truth of music with the perfect fifth changed based on the order in relation to the fundamental tones. So if N is C, and the perfect fifth would be, if the fundamental tone is 1, then J would be the perfect fifth, but depending on whether it's a undertone or overtone, it will then turn into 2/3 or 3/2. So then you get the perfect fourth. So in other words, if N's an octave, you get the perfect fifth, and if it's the fundamental tone, you get the undertone of the perfect fifth, which is then the perfect fourth, which is never an overtone, natural overtone of the root fundamental frequency. So that's exactly the same truth of music that gets passed over because of the logarithms that everybody learns music theory. They assume it's 12th root of 2 equal temper tuning, except Alon Khan is the only one who pointed out the truth of music is actually the same truth that Heisenberg discovered as this non-commutative frequency. Sorry, I got some mints in my mouth. Okay, so, and then Max Born covered it up again, because when he used matrix multiplication, he then relied on the identity matrix to basically zero out all the diagonal values, but those diagonal values are actually non-zero values when you consider the transition frequencies before there's a collapse of the wave function as a measurement. And so this is why the whole New Age thing about music is wrong, because they try to claim, well, frequencies are the same as light and sound, it's just different spectrum of the frequency. But what this is saying is something completely different, that it's actually only this non-commutative definition of frequency that's the overlap of the future and the past. And therefore, it's a completely different definition of frequency that's also found as the truth of music, and it changes quantum biology, because this can self-amplify into the macro scale. And that was Basil J. Halley's big point, is that it also explains the spiritual or paranormal abilities. And then it's also found in Louis de Broglie' law of phase harmony, and the pilot wave concept that he developed from the law of phase harmony, and then the quantum potential is defined by this noncommutative quantum phase that's superluminal and inherently nonlocal. So this is the video that goes into the details. And so this is by far the best video because it just keeps it really simple and explains the equation. You don't have to, like, it doesn't assume you know anything. So that's pretty much it.